I had a lot of preparation. I worked out a lot, and I was able to get into the fin a few weeks prior to the event, and so I had at least 10 days practice and lots of biking, lots of lifting, and so I felt really confident in my physical attributes as well as feeling good in the boat when I flew to Italy, and then having the right equipment, tuning the boat, and after that, I was confident for day one. So the Fin Cup, the Fin Silver Cup is very it's an event that all the kids come together and they're supporting each other. It's good conversation off the water, very intense racing on the water, and the thing that really got me interested is that all the kids were staying together at the yacht club. So you guys could be fighting on the water, pushing each other, and then you get off the water and you're hanging out, having dinner together, and that to me is what makes the event awesome, and was very well run by the yacht club as well as the fin class. So I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, where there's no mountains. The water is hot, and we have like an 8 knot sea breeze every day. But it was awesome to be in Gravidona, Italy, where they had an 8 to 15 knot breeze that came in the afternoon, and sailing next to those mountains were mind blowing, and just an amazing sailing venue. And I think one thing that made the racing very interesting is that whenever the wind was hitting anything near the shore, like there's shifts, and so the race course is skewed, and so it was cool to see like everybody racing towards a corner to try and get a different shift, and then because our race courses were never in the same place, they were we moved them around the lake. We had very different sailing conditions, so that also made it interesting. No, we went out with a north wind that was 15 to 20 knots, and it was almost dangerous to get out of the harbor. But then it died at 1 o'clock. The wind filled, and so we sailed from the south. Sailed the south wind. Yeah, it was good. When I was at college at university, I was sailing my laser after the Fin Gold Cup, and I was like, it would be very interesting to see if trimming from the end of the boom 1 to 1 would be any more beneficial. So I tested that theory. As a college student, I'm also a physics major, and I put a load sensor on a main sheet and compared like the load of a 1 to 1 main sheet versus a 6 to 1 main sheet on a bigger boat, and found that the more main sheet tension that you have, like the faster that you'll go, right? It's a direct correlation of one another. So that was, an idea that I had, and it came out of sailing the fin, and so it was a very cool thing that I learned and then brought into the laser. Um, so cross training and both those boats is awesome. You're learning a lot about mass bend, like in the laser, you're not really tuning the rig at all, but in the fin you are. And we even are talking about how much the mass is bending millimeter wise, from left to right, front back. In the laser, it's just you buy that stock mass, and so if you can just think about trying to keep your mass more steady, right, in the laser, then I think that you can still find a lot more speed. And so that was all coming from the laser. So yeah, I think for me, I'll keep sailing both. I was lucky enough to purchase a fin recently, and so I hope to have 10 more events, nationally and internationally, while I sail the laser. And in February, I'm going to the Olympic trial for the U.S. in Miami, Florida, which if I am the first place finisher, then I'll go to the Olympics. So, that's a very cool feeling as well. And so, this is an even, more amazing feeling and gives me more confidence as I continue training for the rest of the year. It's good. For me right now, there's nothing more important than working out and eating well and sleeping. Because when when the time comes where you have put all this effort into preparing for the event, making sure your boat's you know tuned correctly, right? You've got all the right equipment. When the breeze is on and you get a hike, like I just want to have all the confidence to push myself. And so, for me right now, that's where my head's at. And I'm going to be going to the Worlds at the end of the year in the laser, as well as doing some local events in the U.S. And then training a lot with the group of laser sailors in the U.S. I'm not going to the Netherlands Worlds. I'm going to be going to the Australian 2024 Laser Worlds in January. Yeah, so it's gonna be hectic. It's gonna be interesting. And there's gonna be huge battles, and so it's a lot like a medal race. And I think that the Finn Silver Cup was a lot like a 8 series medal race as well, right? You've got all the toughest Finn sailors under 23 in the world, and then having them all competing on a short line. It's a lot like a medal race, and that event, the Olympic trial, is also going to be like a medal race. You've got all the best in one division, same age, and it's really whoever prepares the most, feels the most confident, is going to take the victory. So you know all the preparations done before you even get to the venue, really. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it all depends on that event. But the beauty of my upbringing in sailing is that I haven't just been committed to one boat my entire life. I've sailed the 49er, going to the 505 Worlds in a month and a half, and I'll be preparing a month in advance for that event, and then strictly in the laser, and for the next months following that. And so it comes in waves, right? Like as sailing has brought me into new places, I've taken up different opportunities. And for me, it's about getting on the water and learning new trades of the sport. And so the fin has kind of given me that another edge. And you know there really is a huge difference between the sailing the fin and just hiking just a little bit, and then hiking full on, right? There is a huge difference in your speed. And so you know again, that's all physical, it's all preparation. And yeah, that's the beauty of the boat. It's all how much you can prepare. Yeah, well, it does depend. I'd love to attend the event no matter what. Going to the last Gold Cup was in itself a shortly planned trip. I planned it on the Wednesday before the event, um, and was able to get the boat there, get registered, get checked in, get measured, and do the event. And one of the coaches told me that event is that you were really just sailing. At the end of the day, like putting your bow in the right place, hitting the shifts right, like that's what really helps sailors do well, right? We can only go so fast in a boat, right? But if you're putting yourselves in the right locations, right, that's real sailing. um but I think that all that stuff helps me get better as a sailor. Like if I'm sailing the fin and then I'm going to the 505 and then I'm sailing the laser, I'm sailing the J70 with my father, like these are all things that have been able to help me make like a matrix of ideas in the sailboat, right? It's like, oh, mast bend is so important in the fin because otherwise, your sail won't even fit the mast, right? That's something that people told me was so, so important. And, you know, for me, at the end of the day, right, it's still, can you hike as hard as everybody else? Can you put your boat in the right place? It's all, and then as you get higher and higher up in the sailing, right, it's then the fine details, right? That makes a difference between, you know, uh, Miguel, who's an awesome sailor, and Ed Wright, who's again an awesome sailor. It's like those little fine details that makes the difference of first, second, and third, and whoever else is down the field, right? I really enjoy free pumping. I think it's a awesome uh, endurance aspect of the class. Like you can really, really make huge gains downwind free pumping, and it almost, you know, equalizes the playing field for the different size sailors in the class. So I really enjoyed that, and it is very incredibly tiring, and it feels like you're, pulling the weight of the world on your shoulders every time you go for a row with the main sheet. So having that sort of power, feeling it, is just an amazing feeling. But I also, it there's other things like the way that the boat is just built, right? You're sailing a better thought out boat than some of the other single person classes. The way that the mast is freestanding, you can change the tip of the mast. You've got mast shocks, the mast bend. I mean, the way that the fin even sails through the water, it just sails and tracks amazingly. And you could in 25 you could sail the boat in two. And I actually have the story of one of my good friends, Penn Alexander, who had at least four fins in his lifetime. He told me that he lived in Newport Beach, California, and he'd go out sail his fin in the afternoon, and then sometimes at night he'd be coming in the wind dive in Newport, and so it's California. He's far out, so he would just take his sail down and sleep in his fin. He'd
Wow.
just sleep. Yeah, right. So that is also, the reason why the fin is that awesome. You cannot, you're not sleeping in a laser cockpit at night, but you can sleep in a fin. Right, so how do we bring more youth into the fin class? Well, this is a really tough question, right? It's, most people think that the only type of sailing they want to do is Olympic class sailing. Because that's that drive, you want to represent your country, right? I think one thing would be cool if we brought it to like maybe the Pan American Games. We brought the fin to the Pan American Games. Maybe it could be some way to get that same sort of edge in at least like North and South America. That would be a way to get more people into the class that way. I also think that it would be interesting to maybe just try and get more kids into boats and at your local club. I recently bought a fin, and so for me, providing the ability to go sail a fin might be the best way I can help get more kids into the class. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to interview me. It's a really, really cool feeling to be, expressing my feelings about the class. It was an awesome opportunity. And so I thank you.